Well, hello. Welcome to Wealth and Wisdom with your host, Wendy, the Financial Lion. For 2 decades, I've been making my clients' financial futures pretty fabulous, turning 300,000 into over 4.6 million in lifetime income, and even turning $10,000 for two little granddaughters whose father had passed away into over 2 billion. That's with a B. The time value of money, people. It's not magic. It's just numbers, and they work. I make them work. So um, today with us, we have on a wonderful woman. Her name is Lynn Tranchell. And with small businesses being the backbone of America, her work is so important. And I really wanted to have her on because wealth and wisdom is not just about finance, right? I always say, if you're a billionaire and you're dying of stage 4 cancer, you're just a sick guy with a lot of money. That's not being wealthy. So, what this show is about is addressing those mindsets, those limiting beliefs, those paradigms, the opinions that we have of ourselves that hold us back from achieving the true financial success, and not just financially, but emotionally, relationally, mentally, that keep you from enjoying the true success that you want and so desire in life. And that's why we're here to help you heal, grow, and thrive. So without further ado, Lynn Tranchell, tell us all about what you do and how long you've been doing it. And I know you do an amazing job at it. So
Yeah, and I like the way you talk about wealth. I talk about full spectrum wealth. You can't be, like you said, you can't be rich and abundant in one area and bankrupt in another. They all bleed together, they all interact with each other. And the thing that I am working with now is entrepreneurs, because small businesses are really the basis of this country. That's where the growth is. That's where everything that is happening good is in small business. So it is my passion to help entrepreneurs and small business owners get to whatever level of success they want. And it's really their definition of success. What success means to me might be different than what success means to you. And some people, it's opening a brick and mortar. Some people, it's being able to take vacation whenever they want. It all includes money, though, because in this day and age, you really can't live without money. Uh, Way back a while ago, you could barter with, if you had eggs and somebody else had chickens, you could barter. This right now, in this day and age, in this modern society, money is essential. So being able to create the wealth that you want, that full spectrum wealth, is really important, especially for entrepreneurs, because they are the growth, they are the future of this country.
they certainly are. And, it's very difficult when someone may have a fabulous idea. But I love that you address the mindsets as well, because having a fabulous idea, if you don't feel that you're deserving of wealth, if you feel that you're less than, or, well, I'm sure somebody else already thought of this, or I don't have the money to go to a patent attorney, or what have you, you address all of those issues with them and help them turn that around as well. Yeah.
Yeah, because 95% of our day is run by our subconscious, and 70% or more of those are disempowering, self-sabotaging, and limiting. So that how that can show up, especially for a small business owner trying to do something new. You go to do something new, and your unconscious sole responsibility is to keep you safe. It has no idea what's going to happen. So it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe
Yeah.
you shouldn't do that now. Let's try this instead. When you do this, then you can. And it puts that doubt into you. And that hesitation can create a lot more roadblocks. It slows everything down. It makes everything seem more difficult. And it just creates more stress for the entrepreneur.
I can totally relate to that. I've done a number of startup businesses and things like that, and it's challenging. And especially when you start out, you're not only the entrepreneur, you're the accountant, you're the marketing person, you are the call center, you're the social media person, you're wearing all of these hats, and it can be so overwhelming. So, how do you work with your clients to get them to overcome those self-sabotaging beliefs? That I love that you do that. And it's paramount to success.
Yeah, it's just a matter of noticing. I have a four-step process called the AIR method, AIRR, and the A stands for awareness. You just have to notice. And how you can notice is you can look at your results, because your thoughts create your feelings, create your actions, create your results, which just reinforces your thoughts, feelings, actions, results, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. And it's a vicious cycle. But if you can look at your results and say, how can I change my thought to be in more alignment with my goal? Then you have a different thought. It creates a different feeling. It creates a different action, a different result. And then you ask again, is this the result I want? If yes, keep right on going. If not, how can I change? What thought can I change to move me in the direction of my vision? So you go from this vicious cycle to this victorious cycle where your thoughts, feelings, and actions are all in alignment with your goal. And that's how you create that success. It all starts right here with our thoughts. Everything was first a thought before it became reality. This blouse that I'm wearing, these glasses, this poster behind me, everything was a thought, and then it became reality. So just notice what you're noticing. Notice your thoughts. Are they in alignment with where you want to go? If not, see what you can do to change that.
I love that. And you know what? Changing your thoughts doesn't cost a dime. It doesn't cost a dime. It just needs to be aware, right? The
Exactly.
first step is really awareness. What am I thinking? And, I think also because, the thoughts produce the feelings, produce the actions, produce the results. But there's another segment in there is also the words. What are
Mm,
you saying to yourself, right? I hate
exactly.
it when people say, "Oh, I'm such a klutz. Oh, I can't believe I made that mistake. Oh, and they just put themselves down. It's like, the world tries to put you down enough as it is. We have so much negativity coming through the news and all that's going on in the world. And to agree with it in a way, if you will, to say those negative things about yourself too, why would you do such a thing? So I challenge our audience for every negative thing you say about yourself, say three positive things instead.
Yeah,
Maybe
and
I
it
made that
does.
mistake, but I did this well, I did that well, this this was good. Just you have to overpower that one negative word with three positive ones, really almost to kind of make it a wash, right? You can't just say one positive thing to negate the one negative thing. It has to be more.
Yeah, because your subconscious is programmed to see the negative. And that was very helpful for us when we were living in the cave and we had to know within a second we walked out of that cave that there was any danger. And today there are very few of us that have to worry about danger walking out our front door. Yet our subconscious is still on high alert and ready to stop us. It would rather be wrong 99 times than miss that one opportunity to save our life. So by just noticing, shifting, and then taking action to support that shift. That's how we do it. And there is a number, I think it's actually more than three.
I wouldn't be
Three
surprised if it was.
positives
What
for
is the
every
number?
negative. There is a certain number, they've done research. It is
Yeah.
definitely more than one. So every
Yeah.
time you find yourself saying something negative, like you said, find something positive
Hmm.
over and over again. And then as you take those steps, I like to tell my clients to take baby steps and celebrate as you go. You don't want to wait for that big, hairy, audacious goal to be successful. Take a step and then celebrate. It could be a small celebration, like going for a massage, buying yourself flowers, or just finding something fun to do. The key is to reframe those thoughts, take action, and celebrate the action.
And I love that you say celebrate the small things. You don't have to wait till you won the giant contract or you finally hit your number one goal or your the figure that you wanted to make in your business. Celebrate those incremental things because we're just reinforcing that reward, right? We're giving ourselves a little pat on the back, a little boost, and like, yeah, atta girl, atta boy, you did a good job. Let's celebrate that. That's so important. And I have a lot of friends that are seniors and they say every day above ground's a good day. So, or I pulled the sheets off my own face this morning. So there's always something to celebrate. There's always something to be grateful for. I mean, just living in America, the fact that you can flip a switch and a light comes on, that you turn a faucet and water comes out. There's so many people all over the world where they might walk 3, 4 hours a day each way to go get filthy water that's going to give their kids dysentery and make them sick and possibly cause them to die. And so just the fact that we live here, that we have a refrigerator, or the little things in life, there's always something to be grateful for. And once you get into that mindset of gratitude and thankfulness, I think that opens the door also because now you have a positive frame of mind because you're going to attract more positive things in your life, right? And
Yeah.
celebrating all of those little things along the way is just more positive reinforcement. Would you agree?
Yeah, and gratitude is at the same vibration as abundance. So it's important to find, before I even get out of bed, I find things that I'm grateful for. And before I go to sleep at night, I find things that I'm grateful for. And if we look at David Hawkins' levels of consciousness, he has gone through and found megahertzes for each one of them. Fear and shame are very low vibrations, whereas love, joy, and peace are very high vibrations. So if in doing these vibrations, we attract who we are even more than anything else. So by being in those high vibrations of love, joy, and peace, we're attracting at that level. And I think probably everybody on your show, based on the way you talk, knows about the law of attraction. The law of attraction is the secondary law. The law of vibration is primary. So that's why it's important when you say those words, when you do anything, you're at that vibration of what you want to create. And that puts the law of attraction into a higher state and it works even faster. So also notice how you're feeling when you're saying those words, when you're having those thoughts, whatever it is, find some way to at least move to love. Love is a 500. I think fear is like 20. So we want to get up into that phase of love. And then you just naturally attract more of that to you. And you can even do it when you're on the phone, when you're talking to somebody, smile. Just to smile, they can feel it through the phone. And that
Absolutely.
smile moves you up on that vibration level also.
Well, maybe that's why I like to smile so much and why I love people and I like to have fun. It's so funny. I have to tell you, I was on a show and the gentleman, shout out to you, Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris. He was saying, I don't like to have financial people on. They're so boring. Oh my gosh, I've been doing this for 8 years. 50 weeks out of the year. And, but you came highly recommended. So I'll give you a chance. And I'm backstage and, before I come onto the actual broadcast and he's still telling his guests, this might be horrible, but, hopefully Wendy, the financial lion will pull it off or, whatever. And even after I come on, he has a wastebasket next to his desk. And he says, if you see me bending over to throw up, you'll know why. And I'm rolling like we're having a ball. We got out a ton of great information, but we laughed the whole time and just had a great time. And by the end of the show, he was like, I'm going to have you on again. And I want to do a 90-minute TV segment with you. And I
Yeah.
thought, finance doesn't have to be an F word. Okay. We can make it fun,
No,
but
it can be fun.
having that vibration. And when you are like that, there's so much joy that just happens. Well, laughing is my favorite thing to do anyway. So
Hmm.
anybody that makes me laugh, I'm instantly love them. But it's so true what you say about the vibration. And I never knew that they had assigned a number to it. That's really
Mhm.
fascinating.
Yeah, they're all assigned all the way from 20 to 700 and above to like 1,000 is enlightenment.
Wow.
So the top ones are goes from love, joy, peace, and then the upper ones are enlightenment.
Wow.
And David Hawkins did, the muscle testing to come up with the numbers. He didn't just pull them out of a hat and guess at numbers. He actually scientifically proved these numbers.
Wow. So
Yeah.
how do you know when you've got, so love is a 500 and then it goes up to joy and then peace.
Hmm.
And peace, I have to tell you because in another life, I'm also a nutritionist. But if your heart is at peace, it tells the rest of your body, hey, we're healthy. Everything's okay here. And my
Hmm.
mom, who lived to be 96, I will tell you, she went through some very, very, very difficult things towards the end of her life. And she fell and broke her pelvic girdle, things like that, and got swindled, some other, very challenging things that most anybody else would be like, oh, this is miserable. I'm by myself. I can't get around, all this kind of, because she was always very independent, very healthy, all that kind of stuff. And, or complain, I can't believe this happened to me, all that kind of stuff. She would be like, nope. She would just keep her heart at peace and give it to God, and I'm going to stay at peace and I'm going to let him take care of me. And I'm sure that that was one of the secrets to her living to be 96.
Hmm.
Just
Definitely.
so how do you get to enlightenment? I mean, does the
There's
light bulb go off over your head? I
Yeah,
mean, really, how does that happen?
I think it probably, to me, it's when you get to that state of, some people call it flow, some people call it's just this euphoria type feeling where everything just seems to be happening exactly the way it is, and it just is. Um, um, and ecstasy isn't quite it, but it's just this feeling of the world is perfect, whole, and complete. Louise Hay used to say that the world is perfect, whole, and complete. So, and it's just an upper, even more than peace. And I think those upper level ones above peace are kind of fleeting because you can't really, I don't really know that. I haven't been able to stay in those states for any length of time because of all of the things go on. So you just, whenever you can get into peace and above, just start at the peace, that peaceful feeling, and see what else comes to you and see what else you can allow in to raise that vibration a little bit higher.
And then once you're in that vibration, then that's when things just start happening easily, right? There's a
Mhm.
flow. Everything's not a struggle, right?
Yeah, you really don't have to get to enlightenment to get to that phase. You
Yeah,
can do
yeah,
that at the lower.
yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah.
around, according to David Hawkins, around 200 is courage. And when you
Oh,
go from get to courage and beyond, you're going from force to power. So those lower numbers, you have to push, 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 push. And the upper numbers, they sort of come more easily. And when you can stay in those upper numbers, it's what I like to help my clients with, to create better results with less effort. And it really is about, when you're in those higher vibrations, you're not fighting against something. It's sort of like when you have a goal and you doubt it. It's like throwing your goal upstream and you're fighting that current to get to it. Whereas if you throw your goal downstream, if you're able to stay in those places of love, joy, peace, then you just naturally flow right into your goal and you create better results with less effort. You work less, you earn more, and more importantly, have more fun, because it really is about having fun.
yes, yes. I love the way that you just explained that. That's probably the best analogy that I've ever heard. And, I was thinking when you said courage is 200. So I think everyone who's got the courage to start out and start a business, they're already at a higher frequency, right?
Mhm. Yeah. But it's a matter of staying there because what you do to start your business, they're not the same skills as to take your business to the next level. And a lot of people think, well, if I just work harder, if I just work harder, 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 I can get there. Where you really have to look at new skills. You want to have maybe have a coach, you want to have somebody to help you out. One of the first things you want to do as you move up in your business is to see what your zone of genius is. And as you're doing things, is this my zone of genius? Is this something that I need to continue doing? Is this something I can delegate? And one of the first things you want to do is figure out how to remove and delegate tasks. So, because a lot of the tasks that we do to start our business, we don't need to do anymore. And we started it, like you said, when we start, we're everything.
Yeah.
And you get to a
Yeah.
point where you want to stay in that zone of genius and let other people do things, or there's many things that that isn't necessary to do anymore in your business.
Right. And there's always Fiverr where you you can hire someone for $5 or whatever and have them do you don't have to design your business cards or, do your Canva, whatever it might be. I
Right.
am fabulous with words and I can talk like forget about it, but do not ask me to design something on Canva. Not going to happen. No way, no how. So let me ask you this. When you meet with people, can you see what their genius is? Are you able to spot that and say, okay, you're on the right path, or maybe this might be a better business plan for you or a better direction? Do you help your clients with that?
Yeah, what I have people do is come up with their vision of what they would love. And you can tell when somebody is passionate about it by the way they act. They light up.
Yeah.
They talk faster. They just their whole persona changes. So what I do is I have you create the vision of the business and life you love, and then I help you get there. And it's all about, again, those thought habits, shifting those thoughts and then taking action. And your vision really is how you say yes and no to things. So you have your vision. Is this taking me in the direction of my vision? Yes,
Right.
keep going. No, keep try something new. And this just occurred to me back in 2020, everybody was talking about pivoting. I don't like the word pivot. Because I think if you're examining, if you're noticing and making those little shifts as you go, is this working? Yes, keep going. If not, no, what can I do? If you're making those little shifts, there's no need to pivot because you've already recognized what's working, what's not, and you're adjusting a little bit as you go. And it's just like they say that a plane is off track like 90% of the time, but it's constantly noticing and going back, noticing and going back, and noticing and going back. And that's why your vision is the most important thing for anybody, whether you're in business or not, anybody in life, to create that vision so you have that zoning pigeon, so you know how to stay on track.
Yes. And well, coming from a financial background, I try to tell people, if you were flying from New York to San Francisco and you're off by 1 degree, where are you going to end up? So if you're planning your financial future and you're not, like you say, correcting and maintaining and saying, is this serving me? Is this performing the way I expected it would? Your financial future could go way off track, especially when you've always got taxes and inflation and life events and technology and all those other things that are going to try to take you off track. So I love the way that you say to do that incrementally, and you don't have to pivot 180 degrees, just keep course correcting.
Mhm. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and and as you course correct, again, celebrate the wins. Just celebrate everything
Yeah.
you do. Be grateful for everything that you do. And that keeps you in those higher vibrations. It keeps you on track to be able to see more of what you're trying to create and then create what you would love.
I
And again,
love that.
love is that's why I have people, I ask the question, the only question I ask is what would you love? Because love is way up there.
I love that. So you get them to the 500 mark, like like right away. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Did everybody hear that? Like how simple you've got to get with Lynn. And Lynn, tell us you have an offer for our audience. So do tell us about your offer because they would be silly and foolish not to get to know you and to meet with you. I mean, I love that you get them to the love right away. That's awesome.
Yeah, I have a guide called Shift Thought Habits for More Profits. And it takes you through the AIR method that I mentioned, AIRR. So
Mhm.
you're noticing your thoughts, you're interrupting them, you're releasing them, and then you're replacing them. And then the key is always action because you can't sit on the couch binge watching Netflix. No matter how you shift your thoughts
Yeah.
and expect anything to change, you have to get up and take action to support that reframe, that thought reframe. So that is my gift to everybody. And you just go to giftfromlynn.com and you can get a copy of it. And I would love to hear some of the thought reframes that people come up with. I love it when people send in their reframes. That's one of the things I ask people to do is once you come up with that reframe, just send it in to me. Or if you're having trouble coming up with that reframe, I can help you do that.
I love that. And tell them again where they can find that.
You just go to gift from Lynn, LYNN.com, and you can
Okay.
sign up for the AIR method, how to shift
I
thoughts for more profits.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So everyone here today, here's a beautiful gift for you where you can change the trajectory of your life and keep changing it little by little by little with this amazing woman. And you would be silly not to. So make sure you take advantage of that gift. And remember, life does not come with a remote control. You have to get up and change it yourself. So act today. There is no time like today. Tomorrow is not promised. So make sure you take advantage of Lynn's wonderful gift. And I know it'll benefit you in ways you probably don't even know are possible right now. So until next time, stay safe and know that you are loved. And we'll see you again next week. Okay, bye bye.